Hey guys, before we get started, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps me out. Thank you so much for watching. So it's been 2 years since we've seen Andre Roberson play, but the Thunder coaches and staff have seemed pretty confident that he's ready to go for the rest of this season. Billy Donovan said in their Zoom interview that if Andre Roberson's available, that he can play. Lou Dort has said with his media days that Dre's ready to go. Even Schroeder said that Dre said he's still got it on the defensive end. Said they played pickup in OKC and he looks pretty good, and that he's still a threat on the defensive side of the ball. Roberson's also been fully participating in the practices since the Thunder got to Orlando in the bubble, and they're saying every day that he's looking pretty good and that he should be ready to go. Dre also said that he was close to coming back even just before the season got suspended. Said that he was well past the rehab stage and that he was getting ready to play in some G League games. So knowing Roberson, since he already had a couple setbacks this whole time he's been rehabbing, I think that when he's ready to play, he wanted to be close to fully healthy. So he should be close to fully healthy, and maybe he can still have some of that athleticism that he had before. And after a couple games, maybe a little bit into the playoffs, we might get closer to seeing that old Dre that we're used to seeing. So how can Andre Roberson help this Thunder team in the 2020 season? Obviously, he's going to add some depth to that wing position. But more importantly, he adds just size, just some length for that wing spot to guard guys like LeBron and Kawhi and Giannis and PG, those type of guys. Because we've had good wing defenders. We got Dort. He's kind of a stocky guy, but he's only 6'3", 6'4". So it's a little bit harder for him to get up there with those taller guys. And then we've got Terrence Ferguson, who's 6'6", 6'7", but real skinny, doesn't have a whole lot of muscle in him. So Andre Roberson kind of brings a balance between those two guys, standing about 6'7", got some meat on his bones, got some long arms. We've seen him get some blocks and some steals. And then another factor that he brings is he has some playoff experience for this young Thunder team. There's a lot of those guys on the wing. Like Terrence Ferguson's barely played in the playoffs. Haven't really seen Hamidou Diallo in the playoffs. Abdel Nader, Deontay Burton, all those guys. Haven't really seen those guys in the playoffs. So Dre can come in and play a couple playoff minutes. Probably have some limited minutes when he comes in. And whether he starts or not, just that rotation with him and Dort. Having one of the better ball handlers get guarded by Dort, and then Dort goes to the bench, or he's in foul trouble, or Billy just likes to sub somebody in pretty early on. Whether it doesn't matter who starts, it's a good 1-2 punch on the defensive side of the ball. We got multiple guys who can guard the really good ball handlers, and that would be key in the playoffs for the Thunder. So let's take a look at how much that Roberson affected the team before on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, adds more defense. When he was playing out there, it seemed like that Thunder team that he was with just had a little bit more focus on the defensive side of the ball. And when he went out, they kind of shifted a little bit more towards offense and weren't as consistent as they were. So that 2017-2018 season, Dre goes down January 27th, 2018. And up to then, their defensive rating with Dre on the floor, it was at a 96.4. And then when he would go off the floor, it would go to a 107.6. It's an 11.2 difference with Dre on and off the floor. And the next closest was Drew Holiday at 9.2. And then after that was a big drop off, and a couple of those guys weren't even good defensive players. Just seems like they benefited from coming off the bench and not having to be out there with those just mega superstars on the offensive end. And even with Drew Holiday out there, their defensive rating with him on the floor was 103.1, and then when he left it was 112.3. So even that's a big difference for Dre, 96.4 to 103.1. So now Dre out there with Russ, PG, Melo, Adams out on the floor. Pretty good defensive lineup besides Melo. Sometimes Russ played good defense, sometimes he didn't. So Dre out there, their defense rating 95.9, net rating plus plus 14, and plus minus plus 162. But that's only from 539 minutes. And if they had anybody else out there, defensive rating 110.6, net rating plus 0.6, and plus minus plus 75, with about double the minutes of with Dre out there. And before Andre Roberson was injured, the Thunder had a top 5 defensive rating, 103.1, and then when he went out for the rest of the season, the Thunder dropped to a 107.0, so almost a 4-point difference when Dre was off the floor. So not too bad, but obviously Dre affects some defense there. So another big question out there is how much will Dre affect the offense with this new team. The Thunder do rely more on half court, which I think does hurt Dre a little bit. He did kind of thrive in that. Those past Thunder teams relied a lot on transition offense, one of the better transition offenses in the league. Obviously, you got Russ out there with you. Your transition offense is going to be pretty good, and you might not rely on running a bunch of plays on the offensive side of the ball. Now, this new Thunder team, 2020, do rely on that half court, run a lot of plays, which I think running plays part will benefit Dre. He won't have to be stuck out there in the corner. He just won't be left out there to dry. Less iso ball. Everybody's running pick and rolls, backdoor cuts, which Dre was really good at before he got hurt. But obviously that is how he got hurt, so I'm not sure how hesitant he is to do that. Hit a backdoor cut for alley-oop. Maybe he'll just stay on the ground, catch the ball, easy layup. He can still do that. He did get his Nick Collison type of scores, just sitting under the basket when nobody's paying attention. They dump it off to him, boom, easy layup. So just moving, setting screens, passing the ball, and not just sitting and watching the ball like those Thunder teams of the past that he was on. And Dre was really relying on that. He wasn't shooting as many threes. He was standing around the basket doing backdoor cuts. Right before he got hurt, the guy was playing so awesome. His defense was amazing. He was kind of finding his stride on offense, not shooting, but just, getting to the basket. In that 2017-2018 season, we didn't see a big drop-off of Andre on the floor. The offensive rating on the floor at 106.4, and then when he was left, it only go up to 108.0, so only a 1.6 difference of Dre coming off the floor on the offensive side of the ball. And then with that starting lineup, his offensive rating was 110.0. And then when other guys came in with Russ, PG, Melo, and Adams out there, they only went up 1.1, sitting at a 111.1. So again, I think that's huge. We didn't see a huge drop-off, while maybe PG and Russ's numbers skyrocketed without Dre out there. Easier run pick and rolls. They weren't having their guys sucked in. They didn't have to pass the ball all the time. They didn't have to shoot a layup with 3 guys around them. So maybe those stats went up without Dre on the floor in terms of pick and roll and iso ball. And then also, here's hoping that Dre has improved his game on the offensive side of the ball. Maybe he's improved in his 3-point shot. Maybe he's improved his handles. Maybe he can get to the basket. Hopefully he's a better free throw shooter. Just even a little bit better of a free throw shooter. Not shooting like 14% from the line like he did that one playoffs. We've seen it from guys like TJ Warren, going from one of the worst 3-point shooters in the league to one of the top half of the league, shooting like from 22% to 42%. We've seen that with guys like TJ Warren. Just even if he does improve his offense just a little bit, plus his defense, even if he's 80% of the defensive Dre that he was, I think that's a big advantage for the Thunder. And obviously he's going to be playing limited minutes. Maybe right off the bat, they do have a couple of scrimmage games for him to get back in the role. Just having Dre on the off the bench, or even starting for guarding guys like LeBron and PG and Kawhi, those bigger teams that the Thunder really struggled against during the season. Just the Lakers were not a good matchup out there for the Thunder. They struggled against those bigger lineups because the Thunder play a lot of small ball. It worked good on offense, but didn't really work good on defense. Now you can throw Dre out there. Maybe he can run the 4 if Baisley's not playing very well, or maybe we can go a big lineup with Dre out there. Because we have seen Dre play the 4 in college, average like double-digit rebounds. And so, here's hoping that Dre still got his athleticism. Maybe he can jump off that left leg now, or maybe he's a little bit better of a shooter. If he can even shoot like 30 to 32% from three, that helps out huge. So anyway, guys, I'm excited to see Dre come back. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think he'll be the Dre of old, like we've seen on the defensive end? Do you think he'll be a little bit better on offense? Do you think he can even fit in well with this Thunder team? Just let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.